Happy Crimbo! This video will introduce you to the Crimbo festivities for 2023. There's a lot to explore. All Crimbo items are tradable, although the gift items cannot be listed in the mall or flea market. Almost every item has benefits that will last beyond Crimbo, so it's worth collecting them all. First of all, make sure to visit your advent calendar and collect all of the goodies inside. These are special items available only during this Crimbo season. If you eat an advent calendar food, salted mutton, corned beet, or pickled bread, you'll receive one of 4 encryption keys, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, or Delta. You can only make one kind of key, no matter how many advent foods you eat. You need to trade with others, either in the mall or through trade offers, to get the other 3 keys. Once you have a complete set of all 4, you can use the Alpha key to convert them into a pirate encryption key complete. This is an untradeable item that can be converted into one Crimbo rare item of your choice. Rare items are also available, rarely, from adventuring. I'll describe all the rare items and what they do, so keep watching. The main attraction is Crimbo Town. This year there's a fight between the elves and pirates. Tammy, who we've seen previous Crimbos, is leading the elves. Sammy is introduced as Tammy's slightly older sister, who was stolen by pirates as a child and now leads them. Tammy and Sammy agree that the winning side will run Crimbo next year, although there's no global score visible to players. There are leaderboards on the login screen for players who win the most points fighting for each side. The command tent is where you could check in with Tammy or Sammy to see the story unfold each day before it completed. All the dialogue is preserved on the wiki. The other 5 locations switch between being peaceful or an adventuring location. The adventuring location that has been open the longest can be won by either the elves or pirates, also called Crimbuccaneers. Check the Crimbo chat channel to see who is in the lead. The winning side keeps the location, while another random location that was previously peaceful is switched to an adventuring location. Since the switch is random, some locations have been much easier to explore this Crimbo than others. Let's look at the peaceful locations first, since many can help you with adventuring. Abuela gives a buff for the winning side, Abuela's army for an additional 10 elf warfare points, 100% additional hit points, and regenerate 8 to 10 hit points per adventure, or Abuela's navy for an additional 10 pirate warfare points, 100% additional mana points, and regenerate 8 to 10 mana points per adventure. The bonus warfare points are only applied when fighting for the matching side. The Elf Guard mess hall sells awesome quality food that increases Crimbuccaneer currency drops, elf warfare points, and Crimbo common item drops respectively. Crimbo common item drops do not respect the usual item drop percentage, so effects and equipment from Crimbo must be used to increase drops in Crimbo zones. No item or effect increases rare drops. The Crimbuccaneer Grub Hall sells mirrored awesome quality food to increase NPC currency drops and pirate warfare points, as well as the Epic Gingerbread Pirate, which adds 50% to hit points, 10 damage reduction, and 100 damage absorption, with a note that this effect will decrease after Crimbo. Each store in Crimbo Town only accepts the currency for their side, Elf Guard NPCs, and Crimbuccaneer pieces of 12 respectively. These Crimbo currencies are collected by defeating enemies for each side. The Elf Guard Officers Club sells 2 awesome quality drinks that increase Crimbuccaneer currency drops and elf warfare points, respectively, while the epic quality Swedish coffee reduces monster level by 50, with a note that this effect will be smaller once Crimbo is done. The Crimbuccaneer bar mirrors the first 2 drinks, awesome quality that increase Elf Guard NPC currency drops and pirate warfare points, while the third is epic quality Jamaican coffee that increases Crimbo common item drops. The Elf Guard Toy and Munitions Factory sells many useful items for fighting the pirates. The trick coin works as an olfaction effect on a specific pirate for 100 turns, which is important because typical olfaction effects, Galapagosian mating call, hold hands, monkey point, etc., do not work in Crimbo zones. Oddly, the olfaction message from the trick coin still appears for the rest of the day, long after the effect is worn off. The Elf Guard Squirt Gun is a one-handed pistol that weakens opponents when it hits them and adds 20 stench damage. The Chest of Pirate Gold allows you to exchange Elf Guard NPCs to Crimbuccaneer pieces of 12 at a bad exchange rate, losing half the currency. The sequin-encrusted sweater causes 9 prismatic damage and has no stat requirement to equip it, so it could be an excellent choice for softcore runs. The replica Elf Guard medal adds 5 to elf warfare points, 2 stats per fight, and 20 each to maximum hit and mana points. The little snowball factory can be used once each day to create 3 precision snowballs. Precision snowballs can be used as combat items for 100 cold damage, or used from inventory to add a snowball to your profile page. Please note that snowballs disable all links on your profile and are not removed at rollover or ascension. Do not use the snowball from inventory if you plan to place ads in trade or otherwise want people to be able to use your profile links for trades, display case, etc. The Elf Guard Safety Bear is an offhand gift item with no enchantments, and the Elf Guard Temporary Permanent Tattoo gives a tattoo when used. The Crimbuccaneer Foundry is similar. The Prank Crimbo card acts as olfaction when used on elves. The Crimbuccaneer Squirt Blunderbuss is a one-handed pistol that poisons opponents and adds 30 sleaze damage. My first paycheck on envelope allows you to exchange Crimbuccaneer pieces of 12 to Elfguard NPCs at a bad exchange rate, losing half the currency. The barnacle-encrusted sweater adds 5 to all attributes, muscle, mysticality, and moxie, 5 to familiar damage, 5 to fishing skill, which only applies to the clan VIP foundry, and weakens enemies at the start of combat. The Crimbuccaneer nose ring adds 5 to pirate points, 10% to all attributes, and 25% to potion drops. To the best of my knowledge, no other equipment in the game explicitly improves potion drops. The pet anchor is a familiar hatchling for the pet anchor. The pet anchor is a type of pet rock, so it takes no actions in or out of combat. The stuffed kraken is an offhand gift item. The Crimbuccaneer tattoo gift certificate gives a tattoo when used. The Elfguard armory allows you to trade in common Crimbo equipment drops picked up when fighting against elves for elf army machine parts at a rate of 1 piece of equipment for 3 elf army machine parts. You can also get elf army machine parts as a common drop from the Elfguard engineer in the factory. Once you have 200 elf army machine parts, you can trade them here for an Elfguard honor present. Using an Elfguard honor present gives you 1 Elfguard rare item at random. The pool of possible rare items includes both valuable and nearly worthless items. Elfguard honor presents are also a rare drop from the Elfguard ordnance packer in the factory. The Crimbuccaneer junkworks is exactly the same, except the pirate common equipment drops are traded for Crimbuccaneer flotsam, and 200 flotsam can be traded for Crimbuccaneer premium booty sack that drops a random pirate rare item. The Crimbuccaneer mudlark in Abuela's cottage has Crimbuccaneer flotsam as a common drop, and the Crimbuccaneer premium booty sack as a rare drop. Let's dive into adventuring. First, you need to get the elf and pirate outfits so you can fight for each side. The Elfguard fatigues include the Elfguard patrol hat and Elfguard hot pants. Neither piece of equipment is enchanted. One outfit piece can be zapped into the other using the wand obtained from a dead mimic in the Dungeons of Doom. The Crimbuccaneer rigging includes the Crimbuccaneer tricorn and Crimbuccaneer breeches, also not enchanted. Fighting in any Crimbo zone without either the elf or pirate outfit will give you a mix of pirate and elf enemies who each drop their currency, Crimbuccaneer fledges mint from the privateer, Elfguard insignia private from the private, and less often an outfit piece. The pirate and elf outfit pieces can take more than 100 adventures to obtain, so it makes sense to pick them up in the mall. When fighting as an elf or pirate, each zone has 3 possible enemies. Each enemy has 1 common drop and 1 rare drop. The bar is unique in hitting each player with sleaze damage at the start of every turn. If adventuring there, use equipment and effects to survive the damage, and consider using a stat limiter like the effect Coweruption, the Party Hard t-shirt, or the Time Twitching Tower Time Lord or Time Bandit accessories to both limit damage and heal more easily. Common drops can be increased by the drink Jamaican coffee from the Crimbuccaneer bar, the food gingerbread nylons from the Elfguard mess hall, the potion Elfguard eye drops, which are a common drop from the Elfguard strategist in Abuela's cottage, the rare offhand drop Elfguard clipboard from the Elfguard steward in the cafe, which also adds 25% each to food, booze, and meat drops, or the rare offhand drop Crimbuccaneer lantern from the Crimbuccaneer lamplighter in the factory, which also adds 50% to pants, hat, weapon, and accessory drops. Rare items take 200 fights against the monster to drop on average, so using the olfaction items from the stores and the banish items for each side is absolutely vital if you're aiming for a specific rare. It is not uncommon to spend 1 or more days of adventures without receiving any rare drops at all, although of course other days have astounding luck. You can banish 1 elf monster for 100 adventures by using the common drop Crimbuccaneer rigging lasso from the Crimbuccaneer rigging rigger in the factory, and you can banish 1 pirate monster for 100 adventures by using the common drop peppermint bomb from the Elfguard sanitation officer at the bar. Using both the banish and olfaction items in a zone allows you to mostly fight your olfacted monster for 100 adventures. All Crimbo monsters this year are copyable, although you cannot fight them using a pocket wish. Those with clan VIP access can use the new fact spot OnlyFax to fight a Crimbo monster of their choice. The skill B Gregarious from the spleen item Extrovermectin also works on Crimbo monsters. As mentioned earlier, points for each side are used for individual leaderboards and to decide which side takes over a zone when it becomes peaceful. Either side can use the common drop potion Whale Cerebrospinal Fluid from the Crimbuccaneer Scrimshander in the armory to add 10 points. When peaceful, Abuela's cottage provides a once per day 100 turn buff for the winning side. Pirates can use the rare drop accessory Pirate Fledges Disintegrating from the Crimbuccaneer Retiree in the cafe to add 10 pirate points per fight. The rare drop two-handed rifle whalegun from the Crimbuccaneer Whale Hunter in the cafe adds 10 pirate points. The drink Flask of Egg Grog from the Crimbuccaneer bar adds 10 pirate points for 100 turns. The common drop combat item Cannon Bomb from the Crimbuccaneer Freebooter in the armory doubles that fight's pirate points. And Abuela sent the offhand Crimbuccaneer War Standard, which adds 50 pirate points. Elves can use the rare drop accessory Elfguard Insignia General from the Elfguard General in Abuela's cottage to add 10 elf points per fight. The rare drop two-handed club Massive Wrench from the Elfguard Engineer in the factory adds 10 points. The drink Canteen of Eggnog from the Elfguard Officer's Club adds 10 elf points for 100 turns. The common drop combat item Elfguard Tinsel Grenade from the Elfguard Ordnance Packer in the factory doubles that fight's elf points, and Abuela sent the offhand Elfguard War Standard, which add 50 elf points. Elfguard NPC currency drops can be increased with the common drop accessory Pegfinger from the Crimbuccaneer retiree in the cafe, the drink hot wine from the Crimbuccaneer bar, and the food candied lime from the Crimbuccaneer grub hall each increases NPC drops for 50 turns, the two effects stack. The rare drop Crimbuccaneer invasion map from the Crimbuccaneer navigator in Abuela's cottage can be used to provide one extra NPC for fight to every player for 1 hour, although it does not stack as more players use them. And you can use the common drop Elfguard payroll bag from the Elfguard steward in the cafe to get between 10 and 40 NPCs. NPCs can be spent in the peaceful Elfguard Officers Club, Elfguard Mess Hall, and Elfguard Toy and Munitions Factory. Common drop accessory Elfguard commandeering gloves from the Elfguard requisitions officer in Abuela's cottage, the drink mulled wine from the Elfguard Officers Club, and the food sugar plum ration from the Elfguard Mess Hall each increases pieces of 12 drops for 50 turns, the two effects stack. The rare drop Elfguard strategic map from the Elfguard strategist in Abuela's cottage can be used to provide one extra piece of 12 per fight to every player for 1 hour, although it does not stack. And you can use the common drop Crimbuccaneer Captain's Purse from the Crimbuccaneer Vice Captain in Abuela's cottage to get between 10 and 40 pieces of 12. Crimbuccaneer pieces of 12 can be spent in the peaceful Crimbuccaneer bar, Pirate Foundry, and Pirate Grub Hall. Common equipment drops not yet discussed are the one-handed pistol Elfguard Officer's Sidearm from the Elfguard General in Abuela's cottage that increases elf points by 3 per fight and adds 10% to weapon damage, the shirt Kevlar Vest from the Elfguard Armorer in the Armory that increases elf points by 3 per fight, 5 damage reduction, and has a 75% chance of reducing negative status attacks. The one-handed knife Elfguard Mouth Knife from the Elfguard Arctic Seal in the Armory that increases elf points by 3 per fight and moxie by 20%, the Crimbuccaneer shirt from the Crimbuccaneer Navigator in Abuela's cottage that increases familiar weight by 10 only in December, the one-handed pistol Sawed-Off Blunderbuss from the Crimbuccaneer Barback in the bar that increases pirate points by 3 and has 3 prismatic damage, and the one-handed club Shipwright's Hammer from the Crimbuccaneer Carpenter in the Armory that increases pirate points by 3, adds 30% weapon damage, and adds 30% damage against skeletons. Common food drops include fruits from the Crimbuccaneer Fruit Plunderer in the cafe, grog nuts from the Crimbuccaneer Bar Brawler in the bar, and the Sunday ration from the Elfguard Deserter in the cafe. Military-grade peppermint oil from the Elfguard Fuel Courier in the factory can be cooked with the whale steak from the Crimbuccaneer Whale Hunter in the cafe to make whale cake. Crimbuccaneer whale oil from the Crimbuccaneer Lamplighter in the factory can be cooked with peppermint tack from the Elfguard Provisioner in the cafe to make wet tack. Common booze drops include the Crimbuccaneer Mollygrog cocktail from the Crimbuccaneer Bombjacket in the factory, Officer's Nog from the Elfguard Shoreleaf Specialist in the bar, and various booze from the Elfguard Chemist in the bar. Crimbuccaneer whale oil can be cocktail crafted with red and white claret from the Elfguard Red and White Beret in the Armory to make red, white, and blue claret. Military-grade peppermint oil can be cocktail crafted with old school pirate grog from the Crimbuccaneer Grognard in the bar to make Yule grog. Yule grog can be cocktail crafted with red, white, and blue claret to make the Crimbo Rainbow. The Crimbo Rainbow is potentially the best booze in the game this Crimbo, giving 44 adventures for 4 liver space. It will become less amazing once Crimbo is done. It's well worthwhile to drink Crimbo Rainbows for the extra adventures if it fits your budget. This Crimbo introduces 5 new skill books, all of which are rare drops. While none of the new skills are automatically permed, each skill book does give an untradeable used version for rereading in future ascensions. The Encyclopedia of Fruit drops from the Crimbuccaneer Fruit Plunderer in the cafe. Using it teaches the skill Fruit Recognition for passive extra 5% item drops. Cocktails of the Age of Sail drops from the Crimbuccaneer Grognard in the bar. Using it teaches the skill Old School Cocktail Crafting, which lets you make 3 turns worth of cocktails per day without using any adventures. The Elfguard Field Manual Culinary Arts drops from the Elfguard Provisioner in the cafe. Using it teaches the skill Elfguard Cooking, which lets you do 3 turns worth of cooking per day without using any adventures. The Elfguard Field Manual Wilderness Sleeping drops from the Elfguard Shoreleaf Specialist in the bar. Using it teaches the skill Elfguard Relaxation Techniques, which lets you rest at your campsite 3 times each day without using adventures. The Elfguard Field Manual Extortion drops from the Elfguard Requisitions Officer in Abuela's cottage. Using it teaches the skill Elfguard Extortion Techniques for passive extra 10% meat. All of these skills are well worth picking up since they will be in standard for the next 2 years. Those who own the item of the month Cinco de Mayo will especially appreciate the Wilderness Sleeping skill book since it enables more Cinco skills to be used. 2 rare drops grant extra adventures of Worn during Rollover. The already mentioned Elfguard Insignia General, which adds elf points, also gives an additional 9 adventures at Rollover, and the back item Elfguard Fuel Tank from the Elfguard Fuel Courier in the factory for an additional 4 adventures per day. 3 rare drops give PvP fights. The punching mirror from the Crimbuccaneer bar brawler in the bar grants 5 fights per day when used. The Elfguard red and white beret from the Elfguard red and white beret in the armory grants 5 fights if worn during rollover, but only in the month of December. The already mentioned Crimbuccaneer fledge's disintegrating, which adds pirate points, also gives 9 fights if worn during rollover. The Elfguard insignia general gives just 1 adventure less than the ultra-rare counterclockwise watch, so it is well worth picking up. The Crimbuccaneer fledges disintegrating are likewise fantastic as they grant more rollover fights than any other equipment bar the hardcore octogenarian seal clubber reward, the 2-handed plexiglass pike staff. The punching mirror does not compete with any outfit slots as a standalone item, so it is also great if you play PvP. The baby rigging snake is a rare drop from the Crimbuccaneer rigging rigger in the factory. It hatches into the rigging snake, a familiar that poisons and weakens enemies during each round of combat. The rigging snake may be a good choice when fighting much stronger enemies. The Elfguard hangover cure is a rare drop from the Elfguard chemist in the bar. Using it removes 5 drunkenness once per day during this Crimbo, and will remove 1 drunkenness once Crimbo is over. New sources of liver cleansing are always welcome to help with accidental overdrinking. The remaining rare drops are all equipment. Free boots drop from the Crimbuccaneer freebooter in the armory. They're an accessory that adds 3 to sleaze resistance, regenerates 8 to 12 hit points and mana points per adventure, and wearing them enables the combat skill Give Your Opponents the Old 1-2 kick, which hits twice for somewhere between 50 and 100 damage each. The Crimbuccaneer runebone drops from the Crimbuccaneer scrimshander in the armory. It is an accessory that adds 25% to mysticality and 50 to spell damage. The Crimbuccaneer tavern swab drops from the Crimbuccaneer bar back in the bar. It is a 2-handed polearm that adds 25% to all attributes, 20 each to sleaze and stench damage, and helps lower the sleaze damage taken by each player at the bar. The Elfguard broom drops from the Elfguard sanitation officer in the bar. It is a 2-handed polearm that adds 25% to all attributes, a successful hit weakens opponents, and helps lower the sleaze damage taken by each player at the bar. The Crimbuccaneer bombjacket drops from the Crimbuccaneer bombjacket in the factory. It is a shirt that adds 25% to moxie, 25 to range damage, and doubles combat item damage. The brown pirate pants drop from the Crimbuccaneer vice captain in Abuela's cottage. These pants add stupendous spooky resistance and 15 to monster level. The Elfguard scuba tank drops from the Elfguard arctic seal in the armory. It is a back item that reduces all attributes by 25%, reduces maximum hit and mana points by 100, and lets you breathe underwater. This is the only equipment in the game, other than a 2015 Item of the Month released for the Ed the Undying Special Challenge Path, that lets you breathe underwater without giving an item drop penalty. The Elfguard scuba tank is excellent if you find you often miss important item drops in the sea. Elvish underarmor drops from the Elfguard armorer in the armory. It is an accessory that adds 200 damage absorption, 50 to maximum hit points, and regenerates between 10 and 20 hit points per adventure. The damage absorption matches the best in the game equipment backshell from the Path of the Plumber Special Challenge Path, potentially earning more points at Megalo City in the 8-bit realm. The ancient elf dessert spoon drops from the Elfguard deserter in the cafe. It is a 1-handed utensil that adds 20 prismatic damage to spells and 20% to spell damage. The Gunwale drops from the Crimbuccaneer carpenter in the armory. It is an offhand shield with 9 damage reduction, additional 25% muscle, adds 50 to max hit points, and has 75 damage absorption. The already mentioned whalegun drops from the Crimbuccaneer whale hunter in the cafe. It is a 2-handed rifle that adds 10 pirate points, 10 to monster level, and 100 to weapon damage. The Gunwale and whalegun can be combined to make the Gunwale whalegun, which is a 2-handed ranged weapon that adds between 20 to 40 weapon damage, 100 damage absorption, 100% to weapon damage, and 1 resistance to all elements. So much to explore. I hope this helps you get the most out of this year's Crimbo World event.